everyone. Welcome to Toy Break, episode 265. I'm Aileen.
I'm George.
J-Ryu.
Welcome to the couch.
It's good to be here. I love
We've known you for so long, and you haven't been on the couch before.
No, it's amazing to be here, especially with all this stuff around.
With the expansive studio and the tram to get in and the shark pit.
I know, and the crew all standing back there.
They're really good at being quiet. No Steve, of course. Never shows up, but whatever. We're over it. Just don't bother coming in, Steve. Anyway, in case you're wondering, Toy Break is your weekly internet show featuring news and reviews all about designer vinyl, action figures, plush, collectibles, events, interviews, anything else we can bring you in the wonderful world of toys. Let's start, as we usually do, by thanking our site sponsors, like Puppet Heap. Puppet Heap, a world of stories on your hand.
Dragatomi.
Button Lab.
Superpower Collectibles.
DKE Toys.
3 Dr. Etro.
Tominosuke.
Happy Panda Toys.
Art Attack Toys.
Grumpy Bert.
Vinyl Riot. Vinyl Riot, your one-stop destination for designer toys, offering a huge selection of DIYs and art supplies to satisfy all your creative needs. Don't forget to sign up for their newsletter to receive their Riot Deal of the Week, a secret promotion given only to their subscribers. VinylRiot.com.
And Frombies.
Yay! Thank you to all of our sponsors. They help keep the site going and the lights running, all that stuff. So they're awesome. Go check them out on toybreak.com. Click their links. Check out their wares. George.
Yes.
Time to check in with the contests.
Outer Spacemen Contest. Do it. You can win a set of Outer Spacemen Series 5 Infinity Edition, Gemini, Orbitron, and Deluxe Cyclops, all courtesy of the Four Horsemen. All you have to do is head over to the toybreak.com forum and click in that section and tell us which Raven is your favorite. You can find them all at fourhorsemen.biz. Deadline is June 26th.
And the Ravens are their new line that's
Yes.
coming out very soon.
That will be on Kickstarter shortly, and I'm sure you will hear us talk about it.
Hurtle us, talk about
Hurdle us.
it. All right, well, before we get into the excitement of having J-Ryu on the couch and other toys to talk about, we have, well, you guys know what time it is. It's Countdown to Comic-Con.
It's totally countdown to Comic-Con. Brat, brat.
Comic-Con.
It's like a minute away.
Creeps up on us every year so quickly,
I
right?
know, right? You'd
Seems
think
like
we
just
had a
yesterday
year to
we were
plan.
like, oh, Comic-Con's finally over.
I know, right?
And now we're like, oh no, it's back again.
But you know what's exciting is you could get things like a Stark Shield replica by Dark Horse.
What is that?
This is a 7-inch replica from Game of Thrones, limited to 1,200 pieces. It comes with a wall mount hook, and it is $30 at Dark Horse booth 2615.
Tony Stark's in Game of Thrones?
Yes. Shh, spoiler alert.
Ritzy will kill me. She hasn't watched all the episodes yet.
Uh-oh.
Harley Quinn Mezit's Clip-On. This is by Mezco. It's a 2-inch figure with 5 points of articulation and a metal ring suitable for hanging Harley from your keychain or backpack. They also have the Man of Steel Mezit's 3-pack. This is also by Mezco. It's three 2-inch figures, including Superman, Jor-El, and General Zod. Each, again, with 5 points of articulation, limited to 1,200 pieces. Wow, it's a lot of pieces.
Where can you get that?
They will be at booth 3445.
Wonderful. And speaking of Mezits, they have another kind of cool reveal, unveiling, whatever, debut. Mezit's 1966 Batmobile with 1966 version Batman and Robin, of course by Mezco, as we just said. The Batmobile features the iconic bubble windshields, bat radar, bat lights, bat hubcaps, sculpted bat chutes, legendary red trim, and bat logo on the doors. The cockpit features detailed graphics, including the Batscope viewing screen. Awesome for all that detail on like such a small little thing. And of course, it comes with the 2-inch versions of the 1966 style Batman and Robin, which have not been out before. Of course, 5 points for articulation, like the other Mezits that you were just talking about. And this one is not a limited edition item. It will become a diamond exclusive after the con.
Why did they have to call out all those things like bat hubcaps? Like, what about bat doors, bat gas cap, bat
Because the
taillights?
doors
Like,
weren't altered on the original George Barris version of the car.
It's called building
The
brand equity.
can't they
hubs
just say
were.
it's the Batmobile? Like, and that kind of covers all of those things.
Wait, is that the TV show version or is it Dick Sprang version?
No, TV show.
Oh, okay. Nice.
So, that's kind of cool. It's fun. What else is coming out at Comic-Con, you hater?
Wookie Baby and Super Baby. What is this? By Fat Rabbit Farm. These 15-inch and 19-inch exclusive plush characters are handmade from eco-friendly fuzzy felt and super soft blizzard fleece. Pre-order on their site, fatrabbitfarm.com, until July 7th, or visit Fat Rabbit Farm at booth 4535 at Comic-Con.
Awesome.
Countdown to Comic-Con.
It's totally countdown to Comic-Con. Brat, brat.
Diamond has also announced a bunch of their, I think it might be all of their exclusives. So aside from the variant covers of the issues of things that they're doing, we're only going to talk about the toy stuff here. So they will have the DC Superpowers Riddler Bear Brick, limited to 1,500 pieces. Also, they have not announced prices yet.
Okay.
So we just have the toys. DC Superpowers Superman Bear Brick, limited to 2,500 pieces. Apparently they expect more people to like Superman than the Riddler.
Yeah.
Jay and Silent Bob Mini-Mates. What? Limited to 3,000 pieces. Have you seen these? They're
No.
black and white. They're funny.
All right.
Black and white like the movie. It's funny. Lost in Space Black and White Mini-Mates, Dr. Zachary Smith and the Robot.
They're still
2-pack.
Mini-Mates, though, right?
Still Mini-Mates.
Okay.
Still Mini-Mates. Robbie the Robot die-cast figure. There's actually 2 different colors. Previews exclusive blue version and purple version, each limited to 200 pieces. There's the Star Wars R2-B1 Bank. Again, previews exclusive fan favorite repair droid from Naboo is limited to 1,500 pieces. And the Walking Dead Herschel's Farm Mini-Mates, Rick Grimes and Herschel Green Mini-Mates, that set is limited to 3,000 pieces. Wow. And finally, from Diamond, the Wolverine Saga Mini-Mate set. It's a set of 4 Mini-Mates, including Logan-san, Spacesuit Wolverine, Ultimate Wolverine, and Symbiote Wolverine, limited to 3,000 pieces.
They sure are banking on that Mini-Mates thing, huh?
I know. I didn't even know there's a symbiote Wolverine.
Boom. And there will be at Comic-Con for your having pleasure.
Yeah.
If you would like to have that
Good old spacesuit Wolverine.
Mini-Mate.
Because Wolverine's very effective in space.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, with that, I think that's enough countdown to Comic-Con.
It's totally countdown to Comic-Con. Brat, brat.
Okay.
Maybe we should... Is it blind box time? Do you guys know what time it is? Blind box time!
Sure.
Blind box time?
Let's do it.
Blind box time. Jesse, how do you feel about Lego minifigures?
I love them. I love them.
Jesse, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
My name is Jesse.
I never know to call people by their names or like their artist names. Or...
Everybody's got too many names.
Here, wait, I'll get you
That's
the... Wait. No, wait. Okay, I got it.
I'm giving him the thing to pick which guy he wants.
Do you want to see the
Oh, yeah. Let's look at this.
fancy... Unfold! Alright, so I want... Actually, I think I want...
Oh, wow. They had... that Medusa's badass.
I love the librarian.
Yeah. I also like the Pagliacci type of clown.
Yeah.
Little
Yeah.
Scaramouche.
Mm-hmm. Rest in peace, Freddie Mercury.
Aww.
Speaking of Freddie Mercury, this guy looks like Freddie Mercury.
No, it's Cheech!
Oh, is it? If Cheech was like a plumber with a
Yes.
wrench.
Okay, I
Yes.
either want the parachuter or the Indian.
I thought you wanted the painter.
I have a painter, but I want another painter.
Oh. You can have 2 painters, it's okay.
Oh, I got the Indian.
Wow, you called it. Oh, I got the painter. How convenient. Perhaps I'll let you have my painter, if I'm nice.
Yes.
Ah!
Snake butt.
Snake.
But is it a sexy snake butt?
It is a very fetching snake butt.
Can we do something with your painter?
What do you want to do?
Give it snake butt.
Is that what you want? Snake butt? What do you
Instead of
want?
putting the hat on.
You have to tell me before I build it.
No, it entails building it.
Oh, okay.
I want to make a little buff monster.
You can build it? Like, you can't just push it towards
Oh,
you?
no, I didn't know if you wanted to make
Oh.
a little...
I wanted to make a little buff
Amalgam
monster.
I thought you were
painter.
like, I'm done. I'm not building this.
I don't build my own Lego figures.
Can you get me?
I have people for that.
Yeah.
Can you get me a pink one of these little things?
Yeah. It's a cylinder. It's
That
a 1
is
by 1
that does
round.
look like buff.
Come on, that's awesome.
Oh, that's fantastic.
I'll put them on my little graffiti set.
Actually, I think I have a pink mohawk.
Oh, do you?
I think that
But he
might-
doesn't have a
look at
pink
that.
mohawk. He has a brown mohawk.
It's so badass.
Come on, that tail is red.
Wow, look at that tail.
I know, right?
That thing's crazy.
Now we just need Perseus.
I thought it was just going to be that stupid brick they always put at the bottom for the...
No, they're finally making some really cool monster accessories, which is weird because they canceled the Monster Fighters line.
Did
They
they
did?
really?
Yeah, so if you want any of
Why?
that stuff, buy it now while it's in the store because that's retired already.
Either
It's,
that
like,
or buy
done.
it like on clearance.
Look at how
Yeah, if
crazy
you get
that
lucky and you
tail
happen to
is.
be there like the day it's on clearance.
I always love looking at those red price tags at Target.
A lot of our Targets don't have a lot of clearance because it's all based on how much they sell versus how much they need to get rid of, like each store. So the ones around here, and I think it's because we're in LA, don't they don't need to turn it over as fast because it sells anyway.
Because the volume's
So
much
I need
higher.
to get out of the city, 30 minutes out of the city, and then I can start
Look
Like
at the
Lamita.
catching
weird.
the sale. Yeah, like Lamita. That would be a good place to go.
Just for Look at the weird. So it's cool that they made it. It can still fit between the pegs. It still fits
Yeah.
on the thing, but it's weird that it sits so high up off the ground.
It's because Medusa's a
because-
goddess.
Well, because it would have to go over other studs. If you have
Oh,
other
yeah,
studs
yeah,
behind
okay.
it.
I get it.
Yeah.
It's
Aha.
Oh
it's-
yeah.
It's pretty badass though.
It's
All
like
the stuff they
Lego
did with
things.
the Monsters line.
I love that Monster Fighters line.
Yeah.
So good. All right, well, everybody's happy with their Lego.
Buff Monsters
That's
here in
fun.
spirit.
Buff Monsters here. Fantastic. All right, so review time or talk to J-Ryu time?
Talk time. Let's figure out what's going on. Let's
Toy talk.
introduce him to people who don't know who he is.
This is J-Ryu.
Hello.
J-Ryu? Everybody, J-Ryu.
Well, first, do you have a website to
Yeah.
let people
it's,
find you at so they can look at it while we're talking?
It's j-ryu.com. That's j-ryu.com. That's I'm really bad about updating my own stuff. Really bad.
But you're on Instagram and Twitter
I am. I use that as a
and Vine.
feeder type of thing. Post it once and it goes to Facebook, Twitter,
Right.
my Tumblr, and all that stuff.
As Brian says, they all whisper to each other.
Yeah, I think that anyone that creates some sort of aggregate type of system that can update everything at one time is going to be a billionaire.
Hootsuite.
What's that?
Hootsuite.
That's true.
I love Hootsuite.
Yeah.
Are you using Hootsuite? It's amazing.
But
You
yeah.
don't even know.
But jryu.com, that's where you can go and check out some of the little adventures. I'm more of an adventurer.
You are. You're a toy venturer.
Yeah, toy venturer. Yeah. But I love toys. It's my passion.
So what do you do? First of all, you go hunt down everything around the world. You're I need that toy, and you go hunt it down.
Pretty much.
You're the real toy hunter. You should have the show on TV.
Well, it's after collecting for so long, these days I don't really collect as much because I haven't seen anything that really that I really really want.
Mm-hmm.
But I like the experience of acquiring.
Mm-hmm.
Because once you
That's the
have
fun
it,
part.
yeah, then you just go on to the next thing or whatever. But I think the experience of going somewhere, finding that holy grail, especially I used to collect these model kits called Zoids.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds really nerdy. Zoids. But they were model kits, and they came out in the early '80s in Japan. But to think that back then we weren't hoarders,
Right.
so a kid that gets a toy like that is going to build it.
Right.
And so these days, since they're vintage, the likelihood of you finding something like that untouched, unbuilt, is
Minuscule.
inordinately. Yeah, it's crazy. So if you find a rare kit like that, it's over. That's like finding the Sankara stones or something. You know?
I have felt that way about many Monster in My Pocket finds, and I'm shocked that I have found sealed boxes.
Isn't it crazy? I mean, I had to go to Thailand, to Philippines, just to find these really obscure color variations even.
Amazing.
Yeah.
But you
And
did it because you love the toys. You love them so
Absolutely.
much that you decided to make them.
Trying to make them. I'm not as much of I think. I'm predominantly known to be a sculptor, but that's not really my foray. George is a sculptor. Walter Choskauskas is a sculptor.
Chalk Dog.
You know? They're just really amazing. Four Horsemen, Corn Boy, and those guys are sculptors. What I am is, my work is more about storytelling. It's a motive and narrative, and if I can convey that, then I'll use whatever medium.
You're telling your toy venture.
Oh, I am.
What's that look?
Join J-Ryu on his toy venture. I love it.
Join us on our toy ventures. Yeah, when we look for mask figures and humanoids and stuff.
Maybe we do need to do our own toy hunter version of
It'd be more
life,
legit, I
because
think.
that's really just filming our everyday life.
I've watched that. Toy Hunter is the guy that finds the stuff and then he sells it, right? He tries
that's
to.
the one.
Okay.
But he's the one that he's always like, I'm gonna buy this for $200 and it's gonna sell for $1,000, and then at the end of the show it's sold for $300.
You know, I watched a couple of episodes of that, and I was collecting, and we were all collecting when it wasn't cool. And when we didn't have a barometer to
Is
measure
it
by.
is it still not
Or
cool,
people.
or is it cool now?
It's
We were also
it's
collecting when we had no people to collect with.
that, and I think because of eBay,
Yeah.
when we buy now, it's not a pure unfettered love for the toy. It's because it's an investment that we know we can sell back for a certain amount, or if it's holding its value. At any given time, you can go to eBay and use it as a barometer for how much it costs.
Which is great.
It is great, but then sometimes we buy things on spec. You know, speculation. Like, I do like it, but do I really love it? I'll just buy it because I'm not going to see this like
Because
ever
I know
again.
I can sell it if I need to.
Yeah, if I need to sell it, I can do
If
that.
I need rent 1 month, I can sell that Ashley Wood or whatever thing you need to do.
Exactly. I think a lot of the scene is predicated on that. The idea of that and limited edition and artificially inflating prices. You know, for me, it's like I have some really butt ugly toys, but I love them. I have a Diplodocus, a Diplodocus toy that has sharp teeth, but he was a herbivore, and he has really ugly red eyes, and like it's just a really ugly
How
dinosaur.
big is this thing?
It's like yay big, and it's hard plastic. I mean, if you whack someone with it, it would hurt. But I love that toy. It's not worth anything, but I love it still.
It's worth everything because you love it.
Absolutely. And
That's all there is to it.
And when it comes to like my work or whatever, I just want someone to love it, transcending like if it's. I don't even care if they know it's me. I want them to see like a piece that is all encapsulated, has its own story or its own style or something they find about it, and then it can be someone in a different country that doesn't speak the same language, that doesn't have the same pop culture awareness, and they can just love it for what it is. Because one day, all the stuff that we're making is going to wind up probably on someone's flea market table. Or it's going to be grandma and grandpa's weird monster sculpture that we found in the attic, and it's falling apart because it was made with vinyl and Sculpey and stuff, and you know, that's it.
Absolutely.
But while they have it, I want them to love it for its own encapsulated concept.
Not for its resale value.
Not resale value, not because it happens to be, say, like an Avengers movie coming out, so I want to do something that's based on Avengers. Like,
Right.
I very rarely do pop culture related pieces, just because I don't. One, I think it's been done much better than what I can do, commercially, and then two, it's the difference between a Miyazaki film and a Shrek film. Shrek film is based on you knowing other pop culture references, because they put all that stuff into the movie. Miyazaki, he's ballsy as shit because he comes in and says, in this world there's witches. Accept it and let's move on with the story.
Right.
And he creates these encapsulated, really vibrant worlds that you don't need to over-explain it, and you believe it, you know? It's not that you know Batman or you know a certain hip-hop song and they play it and you have this array of dogs that are dancing to Who Let the Dogs Out. That's the worst. I hate it.
Wasn't like Macy Gray or someone in like a Spider-Man movie,
Yeah,
and like it just
yeah,
so
that was
dates
Spider-Man
your movie.
1,
Like
wasn't it?
it first of all it dates your movie. Second of all, like that pop culture reference isn't pertinent the next year at all. Like so it's
Right.
like as soon as that movie comes out, it's already old and dumb.
It's like in Shrek, I think they made it so that the prince saving the princess was Sir Justin, but it was voiced by Justin Timberlake, and
Oh,
that's
right.
one of the in-jokes. I hate that shit. I hate when like they have a scene where an animal pretends to be the Godfather and sitting at a table and they're like doing Marlon Brando impressions, and I think that's cheap storytelling.
Yeah.
Because
You
you're
know?
relying on something that already exists, but not even just relying on it. You're directly pulling from it, like you're
Exactly. And you're filling up that
mimicking.
that time period with lazy storytelling because you're trying to give a little shout out here and there and trying to be clever, but I'm personally more of a fan of trying to be pure about like a very simple concept. That's why if I have a piece and people call me emo, but if it's melancholy, then that's all it is. It's melancholy. Make up your own story.
I call you emo and you're just because of who you are, not because of your work.
Because every time you see me, I'm weeping in the corner. I'm weeping sadly, and The Cure is
Not
playing.
true, not true.
So, oh wait, on
what
that note, to bring that around to toys real quick, how do you feel when someone does like an Avengers Dunny or something like that? Do you feel like that's also cheap storytelling or cheap?
Are you talking about
art,
an
like-
Avengers Dunny one-off custom, or are you talking about like an Avengers Dunny production?
No, like
Or
a cut. Like the production is whatever. That's someone making toys, and I think that is coming out. I believe.
Is it?
I don't know if it's Avengers or if it's. Are there X-Men ones? There's something coming out.
Okay.
Kozik is doing Lavitz.
Oh.
Of course he
They
is.
look awesome. They're on the forum. You can go to the Toy Break forum and check them out. But like if someone does customs based on like pop culture things like that, is that kind of like the same as the lazy storytelling of movies doing it?
I think there's a place for everything. There's a large, like Mighty Mugs, right? Hasbro came out with those, and they're derivations of the platform toys like Monies or
Key.
yeah, just a whole supposed designer vinyl like aesthetic. And people do it because you have like C and D list characters that are never going to be made into Mighty Mugs, and they're very, very well done.
Right.
You're creating characters like Warpath or, you know, Crimson Dynamo in that style or something, which is great because there's an audience out there for it. But I think the question that has to be raised is like, at what point is it just being an enthusiast of the scene or a hobbyist, or like trying to deviate towards the art side of things? And
So does this come down to art versus toy?
I believe so, because
Or art versus hobby even.
exactly, you know, I mean, I think that doing a Batman homage is great, but I think there's a part of it that's the novelty of seeing Batman done in a different shape. We see a fat, squat, super deformed version of Batman versus a tall version of Batman or anything. And it's the novelty of seeing it because we don't see that very often. But then people like Lucifer does a Batman, and it's his love of the pop culture where he's using it more as a archetypal character, where he combines the two into one and using his specific style of painting and everything to really turn it into a more of an art piece. I don't think he's being lazy at all. It just happens to be his focus, just like any artist that whose body of work is predicated on pop culture, like Andy Warhol, you know. So you can leverage that. I just think that you know, there is a time and place for everything. And if you're a fan of like superheroes and you want to see the novelty of seeing it as a dunny, that's great, you know. For me though, it's like I don't particularly do that just because I think people can, one, do it much better than I can, and then two, I don't find the subject matter very engaging because I feel like it's not about the artistic idea; it's about execution at that point.
Yeah.
You know, and it's
Because
like
there is no artistic idea behind it. You're just taking someone else's character and recreating it.
It's much
Exactly.
like what you say about people, artists at conventions that take a character, a popular character like Batman, Superman, draw it in their own style.
Right. And a lot of times they look awesome, but it's like, yeah,
Yeah.
but that's not yours. Like,
Well,
Like the
it's
character idea
yeah.
is not theirs, but the style is.
Right.
Right.
I think, you know, if you're a Batman enthusiast or a Spawn enthusiast or whatever, it's like if you want your work to have longevity, that's a huge thing. I mean, it's up to the individual artist whether that's a big point to them. For me, I want longevity because the ideas I want to come up with transcend cultures, right? That's why I hope. And if I do a Spawn toy, then some grandmother in Argentina that happens to see it, they don't have any point of
Who's not
reference.
gonna
So
care
they're like,
about
what
your
is this?
piece?"
Why is this cape so freaking big? It's red and big, and I don't know the character Spawn,
right.
but they can have qualifiers to gauge it upon, meaning was it executed nicely?
Right.
Was it sloppy? Things like that. But from an artistic standpoint, they just don't, you know, have that sort of broad exposure to an idea that can sort of be around the world. You know, that's a simple thing. You know, happy, sad. I'm telling a story of like a dragon fighting a knight or something.
Right.
Those are, I mean, what I do isn't very new. It's just new in contrast with what other people are doing.
Right.
Because I do more fairy tale-ish, gothic things, and it's just because I'm into that stuff.
Right.
I like the gothic look, the
I
Baroque
love your work.
architecture.
I think it's beautiful.
Thank you. But I also know that I'm very, very honest with myself, like in knowing that I'm not for everyone. I don't try to create things that are for everyone.
Right.
I think that it's okay not to like my stuff. I know plenty of people that don't like my stuff. Sometimes I don't even like my stuff. Because I am always hobbled by the technical side. Like, George, you went to school for it. I was an industrial engineer. So everything that I'm learning, I'll take my entire life, for the rest of my life, just honing that skill to match what's in my head in terms of execution.
Well, I think everybody does. Even if you went to school for it, you're constantly, if you're not learning new techniques or learning how to push yourself further, then
Why keep
what's the
doing
point?
it?
Yeah, like,
Exactly. And so for me, I realize that because in my other professions, like, you can't just rest on your laurels and just assume that because you've gotten a certain recognition or something associated with you that you can't always want to push further, or even
Right.
change directions. Like I had a show at Giant Robot. Sales-wise, it didn't do that great, but I was able to take the platform, the opportunity to explore new directions with my work, so I
Right.
wouldn't.
New directions.
Yeah. What's the new direction?
Nude erections.
Oh.
It's the name of the
It's the name of the Glee Club on Glee.
on Glee.
I don't watch
And
that.
they say every time
New
they say it.
directions, he goes new directions. Sorry, I just never heard anybody say that in real life. It was awesome.
It is
First on
hard.
Toy Break.
It is hard for
Yeah.
artists to do a nude erection sometimes.
New directions are really like important for everyone to try to grasp.
Really get a handle
Because with
on.
each stroke of the paintbrush, and trying to,
No,
just-
but in all seriousness, like it's hard. Like it's hard for people to break out of a certain style or pattern, and like with somehow Luke's name gets brought up on this show every week.
Can we just call this Luke
But-
Schubrick?
Lucas Chukas. Yeah.
Luke did a show at Copro. I don't know if was his whole show or was just in a show.
Was it Copro or was it?
It was at Copro where he did that painting that was like the Butcher King or something it was called, and it was like a completely different style than his normal like the emo bear like with a one color background like sitting there
Yeah.
and cutting himself. It was like this awesome like pig guy with like a chair, like the chair with the things of meat
Yeah.
behind him and everything, and it looked so awesome. But it was completely different. I don't know how it sold for him or how it was received, but it's hard for artists to break out of that like thing that they become popular for.
Right.
That comes back to I think in the back of your mind, you want to balance out your fiscal responsibility. Like
Yeah.
we all want to be able to be paid for what we love to do,
Right.
regardless of industry.
Absolutely.
Problem is, though, is that we worry because it really is a small scene.
Yeah.
The vinyl toy scene. It's probably under 5,000 people total worldwide that are enthusiasts or just checking up on the news all the time, So the ones that are purchasing right now, I think, we have to pander to the people that know our work now. Like, Angry Robots, Aaron, right? People are like, all he does is pandas. Well, he himself has said many times he wants to branch out beyond the pandas. But how do you don't want to alienate your existing audience that knows you for one thing, they fell in love with your work because of that one thing,
Right.
and then just go in a diametrically opposite direction and just all of a sudden start doing like the requisite girl portraits that Audrey and Stella and all those people do so beautifully, But I'm always of the belief that you should do what you're known for and have multiple projects going on. Like,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
If you can do that, absolutely.
yeah. And if you can create like a business proposition for yourself where you can live off the art, which Aaron does, he's known for the panda, and just realize that tomorrow there's going to be someone that's going to see your work for the first time, but they love it today. They just don't know it yet because they haven't seen it.
Aw,
That
that's
is
nice.
why, that's how I think about like how artwork is. People love my work and George's work and Aileen's work and everyone's work right now. They just have never seen it yet. There's not the exposure, and that's where marketing and all that business stuff comes in. And I think that's another reason why, being on this show, George and I were talking after having dinner one night, and we just got into the idea of talking about the business side of things because it's
Yeah.
so infrequently talked about in a way that for grown-ups. Everyone's always like talking about it like, oh, I just need to make some extra scratch, I need to flip this, flip that.
Which is fine for a lot of people.
It is, because if you can make it to the next month and you're happy with that, that's great. But for me, I'm a little bit older. I want to have like an idea of where I'm going, not just from a financial standpoint, but I'm devoting a lot of time to this. This is
Right.
time away from other personal stuff, from other work. But I think it's a viable and a very, justifiable use of my time because it makes me happy.
Mm-hmm.
But if I can make extra money from it, that's great.
Absolutely.
Yeah. A lot of times I get emails in my inbox and it's just like, why is your shit so expensive?
Well, why is your email here?
Oh yeah, exactly. And the thing is, it's like pricing has always been an issue. But the reason why my stuff is expensive is because if I'm in a custom show with someone else and I'm working my job, my day job, which I do have, and someone has their day job and say it's at Blockbuster Video.
Are they
And
still
they're-
around?
What's
Let's
a,
pretend they're still around.
Okay, go ahead.
what's a VHS tape? And say they're making $12.50 an hour, or $12 an hour. I'm making what I'm making. If they spend $10, 10 hours on it, all I have to do is really basically make,
That amount, yeah.
$120, which is $240 after the gallery split, or a
Right.
little bit more. So let's say $250, and they're equalizing their opportunity cost for that hour.
Right.
If they're even thinking that far into making
Exactly.
right.
I can't do that because if I'm doing it with the intention of having it sell, and if I'm agreeing to being in a show, I have that responsibility also to the gallery. I can't be selfish and be like, this is an opportunity for me to get out there and publicize myself and not think about the fact that a gallery is asking me to be a part of a show or having a solo show or something, and not think that they're trying to make money off of it as well.
Right.
So whatever I do has to be somewhat viable as from a fiscal standpoint, and I just can't lower my price down to a point where it's easily gotten or cheap enough for people.
Right.
If someone wants something, anything, then you need to earn the money to be able to purchase it. And I'm not saying my stuff is worth this. It's just that for me to make it justifiable for myself, unfortunately, it has to be that much. If I could give away my stuff for free, I would. I would love to.
Right.
We would all love to give our stuff away. We want it to be out
Absolutely.
there in the world. That's why we make it.
I think the hardest thing for any artist to figure out, and I get asked all the time, is how do you charge for this, or how do you figure out how much
How
it
do you
costs
charge for a
to-
project? How do you charge for a custom? How do you charge?
Or how do you charge for sculpting? Like I get asked all the time, like how much would this cost to sculpt if I wanted to sculpt this for somebody? It's like I don't know how to answer that. Like what is your time worth? Like
number
what
one
is your-
problem in any creative field.
Yeah, like
I think
you
it
got to
should-
figure out what your time is worth and how much time you need to put into that, and then
Cost of
Yeah,
materials.
it's the hardest thing to figure out for most people.
The cost of goods sold. I mean, you just take, like, my background is essentially business.
Mm-hmm.
I just happen, I mean, that's not what I love. I just become adept at it over time. I think using the principles economically, like the cost of goods sold, or just doing like basic inelastic goods versus elastic goods, like figuring out like where your audience lies, you just bring it down to a smaller level, and you can figure out, how you can accurately price your good. For me, I think if I was to make a commoditized good that's for everyone, I would figure out what my audience could sustain. Say it's at $80. Anything more for, like, say, a 3-inch toy or whatever would be too much. And then work your way backwards. Before the first mold or cast or pull is even done, just say, my audience can sustain X. Then you go in, and that determines your size, the amount of resin, how many pulls you can get, what type of silicone do we want to use.
Right.
If
That's
you use
a very numbers way of looking at it.
It is
Interesting.
because, I mean, for me, I am a numbers guy when I do my day job. I
And that's
look
not a
at
bad thing.
it. Yeah, well, like
That's a good thing.
I think it's kind of like one of those subject matters that when you're talking with creative people and then you have the business side, you could be accused of, oh, you're thinking about too business-like.
Right.
It's not organic enough. But you can't sit there and, like, I was having a discussion with someone the other day, and we were talking about, would you rather sell one thing at $1,000 or 1,000 things at $1? And for me, I would rather have 1,000 things sold at $1 than one $1,000 thing, because I'm a big pictures guy. I'm a 20,000 foot view type of person, and so I think of those 999 more people that have the thing
Yeah.
Exactly.
are potential new exposures to the art, and so the money's going to come and go. I already know it's going towards rent, it's going towards electricity bill, it's going towards gas, whatever. So
Right.
it's not
More
really the
toys.
money as much. More toys, food, but at least you've exposed them to your artwork, and it was a qualified sale, meaning that they actually took the time to buy it, so they have it. Is the price a factor because it's just $1? Sure, but
But it's not the only factor.
it's not the only factor. You have now 1,000 people that have seen your work, instead of just the one person that has the money to buy it at that big margin. So it's margin versus volume,
Yeah.
That's another problem I have with custom shows. I mean, we all do this amazing amount of work. We come up with the
No.
idea.
Some of you do an amazing amount. Some of us phone it in.
Say, Aileen, I have my custom ready.
It's me.
No, no, she does pretty freaking
No,
badass stuff.
no. Please continue.
But that's the thing. It's like Spanky and Andy and all of the blogs, Vinyl Pulse. They do all this work. We're not paying them. All right. Then it's retweeted by people that follow us on Instagram and Twitter and Facebook, whatever. And then you have the recap of the show afterwards. And this is for each one of our pieces. So if George has a piece in a show, it's like, oh, George Gaspar has his reveal of his piece. And all these people are writing all this stuff, right? And then George charges $600. Right? He gets $300 because if you don't know already, like galleries, we split the cost between the galleries and the
Almost
artists.
always 50-50.
And it can be sometimes even 60-40, or there's an administrative fee, or this or that, depends, right?
Or there's another person involved, curator,
Yeah, so 10% is taken away. But so at the end of the day, all this effort is just to facilitate the sale of 300 here, 300 there, and then the concept, that piece, George is never going to make it again, and it's gone.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I have a struggle with that because I take a longer time coming up with the idea and the concept because I want to make it a little bit more involved, my scenes or something like that. And sometimes I wonder, it's like people love it or they say they love it, you know, it gets press or something, and then only one person gets to have it, you know.
Aww.
And it's one of those things because other people do enjoy it as well.
It's sort of beautifully tragic, though.
It is, and that's how art's always been, you know, like only one person can have the original, but should we as artists also create items that are accessible for a lower price so that the people that do enjoy whatever they find beautiful about our work can have at least something that they don't have to spend an arm and a leg for.
Right.
Yeah, everybody should make $10 OMFG sets.
See, to me, that is like, it's great because you're literally getting like Daniel Yu's piece.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not the biggest piece. It's not the most size impressive piece that would be a showcase of a room. But he did that piece. That's his character, and it's accessible. I love that fact, you know. And so going back to what I was saying about like if you want to sell 1,000 pieces, I think the impressions and being able to have like a stratified level of offering should be one of the things that all artists should consider, not just focus in on. Because honestly, how many of like the people that emanated from the custom scene are really going to go all of a sudden into the art gallery scene? It's not a jumping.
Or toy production, either one.
Toy production, yeah. Our whole scene is predicated on the fact that we don't have money.
That's true.
It's not designer vinyl. I hate all the nomenclature. I hate all the naming things.
Right.
Designer vinyl, art toys. I hate all those names because none of them have been able to accurately convey what it is that we do.
What would you call it?
I wouldn't call it really a scene because what we are
Poor people
independent.
shit?
Independent collectibles. I mean not
Oh.
independent collectibles, but we're independent creators that we create pop culture collectibles or just art multiples, something like that. I don't know how to name it. That's why it's been so hard.
Yeah.
And that affects the way that people perceive what we do. I'm sure you've had friends that are not in our scene that ask you what you do, and you have to go into this whole explanation first.
Yeah.
Before you can even get to what you particularly do with your work.
Right.
So it's twofold.
Yeah.
And if we can't accurately and succinctly explain it quickly, why do we expect someone that's walking down the street like on Forsyth in New York City in front of My Plastic Heart's window to be able to get it?
Right.
And because our market is somewhat stagnant or it's contracting even, that should be a major concern for all of us because we want it to grow. We want other people that don't know about the scene to see what it is that we love about it.
Mm-hmm.
And the more people that know about it, the more potential people that will buy it. The more people that buy it, the more money that we have to create the things that we love to see. So, yeah.
How do you get to the point where we can get this scene to grow and possibly grow faster than it's growing? Because I think it does still grow. I don't think it's shrinking. Because I mean,
There's a lot of turnover, though.
yeah, I mean, every time someone gets fed up and leaves because they either get married and have a kid and can no longer afford to buy $80 to $100 pieces when they see them.
Fair enough.
That same year, some kid graduates from college and gets a new
Art design
job,
school,
and all of
and
a
they're
sudden
like,
he's
"I love
like, I'm
dogs."
making $15 an hour. I could buy everything, you know, like. So like there is like it does. The new audience keeps coming in, and the old audience, some of them stick around, some of them leave. So I think it does continue to grow more than shrink. But like, how do we get it to grow? Or I guess it needs to be.
How do you get it to really expand?
It needs to be defined so that it can grow. Because if it's not defined, like, there's if you can't describe it, like you just said, if you can't even describe it to somebody, how can you get new people in at all? Like,
That's probably one of the biggest issues is that there's no outreach program or outreach type of website. Like I've talked to a few retailers, I've talked to some producers, and I'm a big proponent of having maybe a nonprofit type of site that's sort of like Tramped, but it's there to define it for people. And if every single person has an email list, all the artists and everything, going back to My Plastic Heart, if on their email list it says new to designer toys or whatever name we come up with it, click here to find out more, and it goes to a site that is subsidized by people like me, with you guys, or whatever. You maybe pay a little bit so that this site can be maintained, because there's administrative costs to run a site, but it's an informational portal that can at least be somewhere where we don't have to physically do it ourselves, like make the hard sell ourselves. Because in advertising, the holy grail is to have a one-to-one relationship with your consumer. And if we had one salesman assigned to every single potential consumer, you would sell a lot more. But instead, we have things like magazine ads or banner advertising on websites or billboards on the highway. And so when I drive by a billboard, that's a really terrible way of advertising. Because if it says Mexican Legal Services or something like that, I am not part of that audience, you know?
Right.
But yet they paid for my impression. I drove down the road, I saw it, and they actually paid for me to see that, but it doesn't apply to me. And what you're doing is you're casting such a broad net that you don't care what type of fish you're bringing in. You just want to get some fish. And the conversion rate, meaning someone that's actually going to see the billboard, call it, is like less than 1%, you know? If we can expand the amount of people that are willing or potentially like interested in what we do with education or with really pretty good marketing, like targeted marketing, I think it just expands our audience more, because like I said earlier, there are people right now that would love what we do. They just have no way to see it.
right? They don't even know to look it up online. Like, there's no, like, the only way to see it now is to look it up online somehow.
Yeah, I'm not going
And
to be
there's-
on like Google and be like, man, I wish there was like a rabbit that smoked a cigarette.
Right? Like, nobody knows. to
Rabbit
look
with a
up.
cigarette toy and a butthole. Wait, there is.
Luckily,
And
there's
the butthole.
lots.
Yeah, you know, and to me of course it's easy for me to say,
Right.
Right.
but
Put that into action would be amazing.
it would be amazing. And it's one of those things that in business, marketing is empty cost. You basically know it's going to be a loss because it's part of doing business. It's a cost of doing business,
Right.
but we still all do it
Like
Um,
Comic-Con.
at Comic-Con everywhere. But if you think about the way that people do it, like, I'm a grown-ass man.
You are?
Yes, I might look like a baby, but it's those Asian jeans. And they're tight, too. But if I drive by a car dealership, does this inflatable man, is that really going to, like, draw me in to buy a Lexus today?
Oh,
It
that
totally
needs-
just made me want to buy a
That needs
Lexus.
Oh,
to
yeah.
be a GIF. That's for sure. Whatever
Dude,
just
that's
happened
the
right
new
there.
internet meme. The inflatable man with, like, the Rastafarian, like, inflatable dreadlock things. And
But
that is advertising to a car dealership,
Right.
because they're
Right.
thinking, oh, this is going to draw people in. Like, hey,
It really
everyone,
doesn't.
Lexus dealership right now,
Right.
and this dude.
right.
And I think that if we're a little bit smarter, or there's more dialogue, or just because the barrier
Definition,
to entry,
unity, and media outreach.
it's got to be. Because unless you have some sort of ubiquitous site that you can point, like, everyone has to sort of coalesce together.
I think people have tried. I just don't think it's been there yet. And it's not anybody's fault. It's
No,
just
it's- we're all
what
busy.
things evolve into or devolve into, depending on
Yeah.
what site we're talking about.
And this is one of the most damning things is, like, the consumers in our scene are I shouldn't say brand, store agnostic. Because we cultivate products in a way that they just want the product. And if one store doesn't have it, and they know it's going to be sold out because of the limited nature of the thing, they're frantically having 5 tabs open in Firefox, you know, and they're like, I've got Tenacious, I've got My Plastic Heart, I've got Dragatomi, all these, you know, like retailers open, and
Rotofuji.
yeah, Rotofuji, I love those guys, but if you really want that toy, you're going to go wherever they have it,
Exactly.
Right.
rather than support a specific retailer. Like, not everyone's going to be like, oh, I want a burger. It doesn't matter if it's Quarter Pounder or a Whopper. You do have a little bit of a preference. But right now, the margins are so slim for all these retailers that they can't get into a pricing war. The only thing that they can be different from each other is without selling their own type of toy. Say they're all
Right.
just selling
If they're
toys.
just retailer.
It's pricing. And there's no room in the margin for them to do that. They
Right.
can't be cutting it by 15%, and that's how they get their sales, because they're already operating on a slim margin as it is.
Right.
It's true.
So the differentiator there is, luckily, all of them are great stores, amazing people. You know, many of them are my friends, and I've seen behind the scenes of how hard it is, and that's why you see My Plastic Heart making toys. Back in the day, they didn't make toys.
Right.
3D
Neither did
Retro.
Rotofuji, 3D Retro, all these places, they didn't. They needed more verticals, because if they just relied on sales, they
Exactly. There's
they're-
only so many toys.
so many toys
And
and,
only
so
so
many
many
consumers.
buyers, yeah.
Exactly. So
I also feel like the scene is kind of so small that everyone who is a buyer is also someone who's trying to make toys.
it's
Like,
incestuous.
it almost
It
seems
is.
We're
like
pushing money around the table.
yeah, it almost seems like everyone now, like no matter who it is, they're like, just because you buy this kind of toy, all of a sudden you're like, hey, I can make that too,
Now they're making customs and
because I can buy
resins
resin
and
and it's cheap.
all sorts of different mediums.
That's like technology and the internet, like helping to mature, like the whole idea of what it takes, because we're passing information along so quickly to each other.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I can call up George and be like, hey, I need Chavant or something. He can just tell me, or I
Go
can go
down the street,
online.
yeah, here.
Yeah, or I don't know how to demold this thing, or this is a weird, tricky, like, negative draft or something, and how do you do this?
You can even take a picture of it with your cell phone and have them text you back. Like,
Yeah.
here's the thing.
And I think before the net and having like a group of people that were doing this, it was much harder, obviously, because we just didn't have
Right.
anyone to talk to. We've actually seen that the development of resin as a viable material, because when I was collecting a lot more, I would hear vinyl versus resin, and for some reason the vinyl would be higher
Mm-hmm.
in terms of value
Mm-hmm.
if something was made in vinyl versus resin. But at the end of the day, it still sits on the shelf the same. We're not sitting there like
Right.
flying around and
It's
bashing
not
them
getting
like
played with.
Superman and General Zod, you know? It's just sitting there, and if I didn't tell you it was vinyl versus resin, you probably wouldn't know unless it was like a clear thing, like, or a
Right.
transparent thing.
Right.
But
Something really using the medium.
exactly. And this is a big problem in a way too, because with the more people that know it, we're going to see more people participate, and then the subject matter and what is at the core of all this, which is so, you know, supposedly the art,
Mm-hmm.
we're going to see a lot more good ones and a lot more shitty ones at the same time. And so, like,
You have to get through some of the less good, or
Mhm.
just not good yet, to get to the good.
right,
Because we don't all start out being good. That just doesn't happen.
And
Watch
then-
episode 1 of Toy Break. Don't do it. It's terrible. Terrible.
and then the problem therein is that the audience is not growing fast enough to accommodate the amount of creators versus
Right.
buyers.
Right.
And you know, controlled growth in any industry, you grow when there's a demand,
Mm-hmm.
and you just don't put 20 burger shops on one block. Even if
It's
you
true.
want to compete against another one, you still don't do it, because you're cannibalizing the overall fans of burgers, not just of your brand, you know?
All right, so
So-
everybody's got homework. Your homework this week is to go tell one of your friends who doesn't really know anything about toys.
Tell two.
Tell them why you love toys. They tell 2 friends, and then they tell 2 friends. Go tell them why you love toys, and that they should come to DesignerCon in November.
DesignerCon is badass. I mean, I'm proud of you guys. I mean, to go from what you guys did now to 2 days.
Thank you. Thank you.
It's-
We're excited.
Yeah, and it's the best con,
Aww.
really. Because right now
He's just
San
saying
Diego
that.
is like a piece of crap.
Well, it's just crazy.
I still love San Diego.
It's a spectacle, though. You
I
go
enjoy
there,
it, but it's you can't. I enjoy it on a completely different level than I used to. I used to go in and just walk down every single aisle and look at everything, and walk out of there with bags, just bags of amazingness from independent artists and big name companies. And now I can't even walk the whole hall. You can't.
No,
It's a
because you
completely different
molest so many
experience.
women boobs, man boobs.
hate when I molest
these
women
arms,
boobs.
like, oh yeah, just like trying to get through the audience and the crowd, and
Walking through the field of farts.
oh man,
Field of farts.
someone should sell like designer deodorant,
Mattel gave away Mossman deodorant one year.
and it was
Couple years
sorely
ago.
needed. You know, you're
Well-
a grown ass man. You know how to book a hotel, but you can't like rub some like stuff under your arm.
You're
we all
assuming
forget.
that they're not sleeping in their car, which I know some people do.
Well, that's
Not, which is fine if you want to sleep in your car, but use deodorant.
But no,
Deodorant's good.
Decon is go to Decon. It's
Deodorant
amazing.
con.
Deodorant con. It smells good.
We all
That's
have
the
deodorant.
tagline. I was a brander before. I used to brand Decon. Smells good.
All right, let's do that.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of things that smell good, should we look at a few toys while you're here?
Yeah, let's
do we
do
have
that.
time? Let's.
Yeah,
all
let's. We can look at a few things. Wait,
right.
should we say thank you for that?
Oh yeah, let's do that first. So Scott brought this back from Texas,
Comic Palooza.
Comic Palooza. It was given to him for us by I don't know who, maybe Black Inkwell. I don't know.
It's kind of a cool little handmade tag. He's got a little drawing. It says Black Inkwell.
It's called Party Pooper. It's a mini, and it's spawned from spite and regret of a forgotten invitation. The Party Pooper is the negative Nancy that has come to reign on the parade. With his stare of disapproval, he melts the faces of partygoers. The perfect gift to ruin someone's special occasion. And he's got a little hat.
They call me emo.
I think he looks a little Yoda-ish with his little hat. But
All I can say is it's purple with glitter. Like, what more do you need? Like, that's awesome.
This
So
is cool.
thank you. Thank you for doing that. Thank you for finding Scott.
And see, this is like, okay, these are independent ideas of resin, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And it's cool because it's pocket-sized. It's a little, like, thing that could just sit on your shelf, and I like things like this, you know? Just as a collector. It doesn't always have to be grandiose and everything, you know?
Yeah.
That's absolutely true.
Yeah. And there's a little hand-drawn header card.
Yeah, isn't that cool? Like, did a whole complete packaging and everything.
That is cool.
All right, so we have. Let's just bring all three out.
Okay.
Why not? So we actually have some cool circus postress or postress, however you like.
Love those
Posterous.
guys.
I heard it on the Kickstarter.
What is it?
Brand has a Kickstarter going right now. It's Circus Posterous.
Posterous.
And
At least if you ask Brand.
If you like Brand's sketching, or if you like Brand's art, you can check out his Kickstarter because he has a Kickstarter running right now. First sketchbook.
All right, so we got three toys here. These are collabs between Tomonosuke and Circus Postress, each by a different artist. Do you want
Yes.
to talk about yours first?
Mine is the Chris Reiniak Stinky Ginger, and this is the. I think this is their like Tomonosuke's exclusive color. I think.
Yes, but you have to buy it on the Circus Postress site.
Oh, is that
if
what
you're
you
in
get?
America.
Oh, okay.
If
There you
you're
go.
in another country, then you can go to Tomonosuke. There's just go to the site. You'll see all the stuff.
Perfect. So this is, I think, the second release of Stinky Ginger after the Decon one was the first one. I think.
Yes. I believe that's correct. All right, so Stinky Ginger by Chris Reiniak. That one's limited to 120 pieces for $89. I have here Stingy Jack by Brant Peters. This one is $95, limited to 100 pieces. And you have
I have the Calliope Jackalope.
Cute by Kathy Olivas.
Yeah,
That one's limited to
beautiful work.
120 pieces, also $95, but I believe it's sold out on the Circus Postress site. Postress.
Mine
Circus
lied.
Postress
It's
site.
not Stinky.
Oh, mine's not stinky either.
Well, mine was Stinky Ginger. Yours isn't supposed to be Stinky. Oh, it is Stinky Jack.
Stingy.
Stingy Jack.
Stingy Jack. Oh, all my feet are backwards.
You know, I love this because these I guess it's supposed to sit like this, so you can
Yes.
put it on a shelf.
On the table edge. So it can
Oh,
sit
it's
right next to your
beautiful.
Figment from Brendan Monroe.
I love Brandon's work.
So, first of all vinyl, which is not always something that you see from the Circus Postress group. I like it. I like, they have it's not really a lower price point because it's a very limited run.
Yeah.
Of
What was
everything.
this? 120? 120
Yeah, 120.
pieces?
And I like all these artists anyway, so I might be partial to their stuff, but I think these are fabulous pieces. What do you think of that Stinky Ginger color?
It's awesome. It's a translucent pink vinyl, but it's painted from the top down, like with the
Halfway
spray.
down.
So it's like the top is solid, and then it goes into the translucent part. I like it.
I believe on Pinterest, if that was hair, it would be called ombre.
Okay.
You know what I'm talking about. You know.
That's why I laugh.
What's up, hombre?
All right, so my Stingy Jack guy, I'm sort of in love with because if you know those old like Halloween vintage postcards and stuff, like this is totally that style. It's,
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of Brandt's style anyway, but I think the character is adorable. I love I'm from October Toys. Of course I love little pumpkin-headed guys. And it's got that, it's translucent with like a silver, I can't tell if it's inside or outside. I think it's outside.
It's outside.
With a silver paint sort of going up, so it's got a bit of a glitter effect. I think there's glitter in the head, actually. I like it. I think it's nice, it's clean. It's got that Japanese vinyl sort of feel to it.
Yeah.
Now yours,
It's
although I believe it
gorgeous.
is Japanese vinyl, doesn't have that clear painted kind of look.
It's not, but it's like, what I love about this is it takes into account the environment of how we display. I mean, yeah, you could bend the legs. It's articulated like in 3 points, 4 points if you count the tail, but like at first when I saw this, I was like, I don't know about this pose, but it makes sense now out of the package. And I love the fact that it sits on a shelf. And, Kathy's toys have been getting progressively like more and more closer to her work.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because she has such a lovely, she uses oils, right? She's an oil painter. And so there's a very textural element. Like, it's really rich and everything. And I think some of the minis, they didn't really reflect it. And her customs are gorgeous, but it's got subtle spray. And there's like multiple paint applications.
A lot of attention to detail on these
Oh
figures.
yeah, I love that crew. They really know they're coming into their own as to being a pretty viable, manufacturer and producer
Absolutely.
of like all the toys.
Yeah.
Also a wonderful addition to the Designer Con show every year. We love having them. Can't wait to see what they have this year.
I can't wait to punch Chris Reiniak in the face.
That's my favorite thing to do at Designer Con!
That's me.
All right, well, you guys should go check these out online. Just follow what they're doing. They have so much stuff. I mean, if you go to their site, circusposterous.com, so much stuff, not just this. I thought it was Posterous.
Didn't I say it was posturous?
Posters.
Oh, I thought you said Posterous. How do you
Posterous.
get me confused like that?
You got yourself confused.
No! Ah! All right, so there's those guys. So we also have some events coming up. UglyCon. I believe it just started, but it's going right now. It's art, plush, comics, and more from Ugly Doll at Giant Robot, June 15th to 26th, giantrobot.com. It's like a whole exciting David Horvath, Sunman Kim, Ugly Doll orgy.
Bonanza.
Bonanza, better word. Also, Anime Expo at the Los Angeles Convention Center in Los Angeles, California, July 4th through 7th, anime-expo.com. I guess somebody's going to be there.
I want to see all the Attack on Titan cosplayers. Have you seen that anime?
I don't
No.
know what that means.
I haven't yet.
It's a manga that's based around the city that hasn't had an attack by these giants in a long time.
Mm-hmm.
So they live in these walls, and then all of a sudden this giant titan comes and starts wrecking shop on this city, and so they create these anti-titan, crews that try to take them down
Oh, wow.
because the titans eat people.
That's what Titans would do.
I would do that too if it tastes like ravioli.
Or au jus.
You read my Instagram tweet.
Countdown to Comic-Con.
It's totally countdown to Comic-Con. Brat, brat.
Yes.
When is Comic-Con, George?
San Diego Comic-Con, a comic and popular art convention at the San Diego Convention Center in San Diego, California, July 18th through the 21st. Go to comic-con.org.
Never heard of it.
And of course you'll be there, right?
Yes.
Yay!
What's our booth number?
4951.
Come see us.
Watch Toy Break next week for a special announcement from October Toys.
Uh-oh.
Well, I guess watch every week for announcements from October Toys. That's us.
Only
but
next week.
Yeah.
Only next
But
week will
not
be
this
special.
show. Turn it off immediately and don't watch
No,
anything.
this show was amazing. We had some amazing business talk. We talked some business.
They'll be the judge of that.
I had an amazing time. Did you have an amazing time? I hope you did. I hope you enjoyed it, because that's it for episode 265. Don't forget you can save money with Toy Break coupons online, bunch of different retailers. You can check the show notes at toybreak.com for all the details, as well as links to this stuff that we talk about, J-Ryu's site, all sorts of goodies on there. You can
We
also...
didn't really find out about like your background in art or what you're
Army
creating?
Snipers. We didn't get to
even
talk about Army Snipers.
we didn't even like
You wanna
talk
mention that real
about
quick?
what you're doing. Let's talk about Army Snipers for a second.
Well, Army Snipers is not really a collective the same way Circus Posterous was. I mean, Woes started the crew. And so it's really a collective of artists there. And we really haven't coalesced in a way that, other than the events, we tend to do a lot of charitable events.
Yeah, but you guys do amazing work.
We're trying. You know, it's a lot of us. So to get everyone on the same page at the same place and everything is difficult. But we are going to be in Singapore, Woes and myself, in 2 weeks for like a program where we're going to be working with children. Some of them at risk for becoming delinquents or going on the wrong path. So we do a lot of art outreach things where we work with the children. We expose them to current art that they can relate to. And hopefully, you know, it can give them ideas as to, you know, what other avenues there are than destroying like property and rape and pillaging.
What is it? Wow. What is it? What is it like to go to? Where you said Singapore? You're going?
We're going to Singapore in 2 weeks. Aaron will go to Indonesia right after I come back. But we were on a humanitarian mission like about a year and a half ago to Thailand, Singapore, Philippines, and Hong Kong.
How did the kids in those kind of areas react to like this kind of art, like things like Woes has the pandas and stuff that he does? Like does it go over the same as like kids here when they see it, or is it like what? Because it's a whole different kind of a cultural upbringing. So like, how do they respond to this
relate?
kind of art? Yeah.
It's crazy. I mean, well, while we were there, we were filming a documentary that's going to be, it's still being edited. It's going to be coming out hopefully soon, and we'll see it. But it's really interesting you bring up the cultural element, because you ever see the guys in Las Vegas and they can draw portraits and it's like perfect.
Right.
That's how it is over there. They're very technically proficient, but they see things realistically. If I was to say, well, do an ice cream monster pooping out a rainbow, they're like, what? Like, they don't have a sense of the surreal, because their life is so difficult in many ways that they don't have time to entertain things that are not pragmatic or practical. And so when they do art and everything, it's very, very, they can copy a landscape beautifully, but they don't have a really good sense of creation from like the way that we do. And so for them to see what we're doing, and especially because we're in Asian countries and Aaron and I are both Asian, if you didn't already know.
You're Asian? Wait, you're a grown man and you're Asian. We are learning so much about you tonight.
Yeah. So my home country is Estonia, and no.
Isn't that from
No, it's-
Goonies?
No,
Oh,
that's
it's
Astoria.
Yeah.
I'm kidding. It was a joke, Howdy.
But yeah, no, it was an amazing opportunity, because here we're just so, like we said earlier, eBay, all that stuff. We have this idea of it being a commoditized type of business of products. Over there, it's very, very pure, very unfettered. Kid Robot was a sponsor as well of our trip,
that's
and they sent us with like a grip of blank monies and everything, and they just looked at them without the same type of approach that I think kids here would.
Right.
And they were really treasuring the opportunity to draw on something that, you know, just it's new to them, a DIY, but two, it's so obtuse in their way of thinking that, oh, you actually can make something that is a doll and I can paint on it and do whatever. And then to have older Asian people that were not, because it's a very patriarchal type of society usually. So a lot of the jobs and the way that things are, you're really trying to be like all you can be. Doctors, lawyers, businessmen, go to school, engineering. Not all the kids have this opportunity. And so if they have the nascent talent in art, and we can somewhat help them steer one way, I think that's one of the big things that we enjoy doing as a crew, as a collective.
Which is wonderful, because not only, like, you do raise money to fund these trips,
Yes.
these toy ventures,
Mm-hmm.
art ventures,
Yeah.
but you're very hands-on with this. You're really exposing people who wouldn't otherwise have exposure to this medium, this scene.
Yeah, when
art.
we used the Kickstarter, the money was actually literally going to things like, we bought rice.
Mm-hmm.
We were paying for the supplies for the paint and everything.
Mm-hmm.
The lodging was very minimal, almost hostile type of, like a youth hostel, not hostile, but
Right.
yeah. And everything was going towards it, and we donated our time. We weren't getting paid, and that was really for the Thailand trip. The other stuff was subsidized because we also do for-profit type of things. So the Hong Kong and part of the Philippines and Singapore were not part of that Kickstarter.
Right.
The project, the 2 weeks that we spent in Thailand, though, was just... It was just an amazing opportunity to see what we could do, and we just do this as fun, as something that we're into. But it actually has a profound effect on people.
You change lives.
Yeah, some of these kids were rescued from human trafficking. They're orphans, or their parents had AIDS. They might be HIV positive. They're living on trash dumps. And when I say trash dumps, it's like a 3-story building and then 2 square miles of just junk, like trash. And when we think of trash, we think about, oh, I crumple up some paper and throw it in the trash can. We're talking about juicy ass trash.
Oh.
Like,
Ass
you know,
trash.
yeah, it's like just biological elements. And the craziest thing, we got up to this trash dump, and people are living on top. Like, kids would make a little shanty, like a little box house. And that's where they lived because they were picking out the plastics to sell,
Wow.
you know, get money from it. There was this gray haze above this trash dump. And as we got closer, we realized it was like billions of flies. Like, so dense that if you took a piece of fly paper and just swatted it in the air, the entire thing would probably be covered black
Ew.
in flies.
Oh my god.
And this is where kids are like living. And we saw this one woman, she was washing her clothes in this lake next to the dump, and the lake, no joke, was gamma radiation green. Like your shirt.
Yeah.
That was how green it was. And this one, they told us stories of this one guy that fell in the lake and he became paralyzed. A dog fell in that lake and its hair almost immediately started falling out. And this woman's sitting there washing her clothes in it.
Because that's what they have.
Right. And so, you know, of course, that's a very, very daunting and very ambitious project. That's not to say we can't do this type of same thing in our backyards. We just, you know, we're invited to do
Absolutely.
this
Right.
project there. But I guess the point is like any time that we have the opportunity to also think about the flip side of what we're able to bring in terms of change, it's definitely to be considered because it's very fulfilling. Like, I could sell a piece at a show and it's a really nice show, and My Little Pony or something.
Mhm.
That's great. And we get to see
That
each
piece
other.
was really cool, by the way.
Thanks. But nothing comes close to like actually seeing that something that we take for granted, like with whatever skills we've been born with and blessed with, actually can help a little kid see the world in a little bit of a different way, you know?
And maybe give them an opportunity that they may not have had before because they didn't know it existed.
Oh, absolutely. I often wonder how many prodigies we've lost just because we haven't had targeted education towards people. So there might be like some kid in the projects that has a propensity towards physics.
Absolutely.
Or like a kid that's in a trailer park that's never been handed a violin. He might be a prodigy. We just don't know. But, you know, in our own small ways and what we're good at, you know, art, producing toys, you know, outreach and all that, we can do a lot of good, you know. And I think
Absolutely.
that's what we're going to continue to do as well.
And Army of Snipers has a website, yes?
ArmySnipers.com.
That easy. So you can go check out what they're doing, and I believe there's a blog on there to follow.
Yeah, we're not very good at doing this because we've got 27 members and it's a loose affiliation because we've got Sket
But everybody
and
also
Luke
has
and
all their own stuff that they're doing, too. I mean,
Absolutely. But when we do have opportunities like the Singapore trip, and we are going back to Singapore in September, like Luke, myself, and Woes for the Singapore
oh, wow.
Toy and Gaming Convention.
Fabulous.
Yeah, and that's going to be cool, but we always try to pair it with if there's local like charities or outreach programs that we can do it while we're in the area.
That's really cool.
Yeah, it's fun. You guys
What a
should come
great
with.
job. I would love to. I think that would be amazing.
It would be, you know what would be really cool? Is if we had a big contingency of our people go over there or somewhere. The reason why is because when we go there, it's so rare that artists get to go over there.
Mhm.
Over here, you're in LA, or now I'm in LA, or New York, you see these artists all the time.
Yeah.
Over there, they're so hungry and they're so interested in a very unfettered, pure way. They're just so happy to see
When are
you.
you going to Singapore?
I will leave on the 23rd.
Oh, no, you said you're going back at the end of the
Oh,
year?
I'm going at the end of August into September for
August.
the Singapore Toy and Gaming Comic Convention.
Very cool.
I think Kozik's been there. The Beast Brothers
That
were
thing's
there last
huge.
year.
There's like a lot of people there.
Yeah, we're going as guests, and we're going to have an exclusive toy.
Fabulous. You didn't say what it was.
Oh yeah,
You might have something there.
yeah. So Woes, Luke, and me collab thing, sort of thing.
Toy breaking news!
Yeah.
Very cool. So watch
Yeah.
watch for more info on that
For
from you
sure.
guys.
For sure.
And places you could do that are right here on Toy Break, and some others we're going to get to in a second. But before we do that, don't forget you can call and leave us a voicemail at 818-AM-I-GOOD. Email us info@toybreak.com. Keep up with us on Facebook at facebook.com/toybreak. Check out our Toy Briefs, Toy Girls, and full episodes at youtube.com/toybreak. And now, the stuff I was just talking about, you can follow us on Instagram and Twitter. You can follow at Toy Break. I'm at Aileen Gaspar.
At George Gaspar.
At J-Ryu?
And I'm sure you're going to post stuff about your trips and
Yes.
all the projects that you're involved in, and any toys you have coming out, and any customs that you're working on, and
Yeah, I love
business
talking about this
advice.
stuff. Yeah.
you should just type out business. You know, when people type it out on their notepad
Yeah.
app, and then they just take a picture and put it on Instagram. You should just put like your daily toy biz tip.
Yeah. Don't make toys.
Well, what are you, Dove?
Yeah.
Tip number 1.
Tip
Don't
number 1.
do this.
Yeah.
I can agree with that.
Feed your babies.
Yeah, because toys aren't feeding any babies.
Yeah.
Don't feed toys to your babies.
Well, thank you so much,
Thank
J-Ryu,
you for having me. I really appreciate
joining us on the couch.
it. I love it.
We want you to come back because I think there's more to this conversation.
Oh yeah, we have like so many people to make fun of.
No! I know who you're pointing at.
Yeah,
It's Luke.
it's myself.
Oh, I thought you were pointing at
Aw.
Luke.
Yeah.
All right, next time we'll get Luke on the couch too, and then we can have a little four-way.
Excuse me? Can I just say also before we end this, Army of Snipers is quite a name to see associated with anything charity involved.
You know, we've had that discussion.
It seems kind of violent to get it.
It does, but the whole idea was to like pick a creative target and not do it twice. Just one shot and one kill. Like, just do it correctly. And
It's good in theory.
Yeah, it's good in theory. But we've had people that have said that, and that's why we oftentimes just use AOS.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it was founded from a graffiti-ish, more type of crew mentality.
Absolutely.
I'm not a graffiti kid, you know? And I'm, you know, more fine artish if I was to skew that way.
Right.
But I do like the camaraderie and
Yeah.
like the everyone is on the same page in terms of like what you would like to do, you know? So we'll have to take that into consideration.
Hey, let's call him AOS for
Yeah.
now.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank
you
you.
for sharing all of your wonderful insights. And we actually have a special toy break.
We do.
This is a very special toy break. Crack it, Monster Forge.
Eat more toys.
And eat more toys. We're hanging
and
out.
somebody else.
And another person whose name is in the video.
Hacker the Jacker or something like that. I can't remember what it was.
That's probably it. So, J-Ryu, would you take us out with a "And now here's your toy break"?
And now, here's your toy break.
It's so hot in the Georgia sun, my beaver's all sweaty and crusty. Time to smash that beaver! 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 Yeah! I love that!